Mario-less, but I am in the Prius, so that would kind of explain why. Hey, happy football Sunday to everybody. Just wanted to do a real quick video and talk about Lamar versus Allen because, of course, that's a dynamic that everybody seems to always gravitate towards when it comes to matchups. And there's elite level quarterbacks, and Allen and Lamar this season are certainly no exception to that. So let's kind of get into it and talk a little bit about this matchup and specifically some of the things that I haven't heard other people talk about yet, but are sort of the markers once you get deeper into the season that I think are really hallmarks to what is actually happening on the field. So one of the things that I want to talk about is something called a bad throw percentage, right? So and this stat's out there. You can look it up yourself on profootballreference.com. So a bad throw percentage is what is deemed as a throw that was not catchable, right? Just what they take away spikes. They take away balls where the quarterback clearly threw it away. Those are removed from the aggregate. So those aren't considered in there. So far this season, Lamar Jackson has thrown 59 passes on target the whole season. Now, that is just not a lot. It's actually the lowest in the entire AFC, which I guess shouldn't be a surprise. Lamar has probably the lowest total number of throws in the entire AFC. And you're looking at a Ravens team that's also the highest scoring in the AFC. So that seems a little odd, right? So again, a bad throw is something that is deemed as not a spike, not a QB throwaway. It is legitimately an uncatchable off-target throw. Lamar is only second in the AFC to Derek Carr, who's at almost 24% of bad throws. Lamar has had right around 22.5% of his throws from, whether it be from the pocket or on the run. 22% of those are off target. Allen is nowhere near that. Not only is Allen nowhere near that bad throw percentage, Allen's also thrown almost double the amount of total passes that Lamar has. And I think Allen's bad throw percentage is south of 12%, right? I think Allen's had a total of 10 bad throws so far this season as deemed by the stat. Lamar's had 19. So again, Lamar's had almost double, and he's only second to Derek Carr in bad throw percentage. That's just straight not good, right? On top of that, you saw last week how Buffalo had trouble facing pressure. So from an offensive line standpoint, again, profootballreference.com, you can find all these stats yourself. The advanced stat procedure tells you, hold on, there we go. The advanced stat procedure tells you what their average time in the pocket is. And for the last couple seasons, Lamar Jackson has had significantly more time. I know when you say, oh, Paul, it's only 0.4 seconds, that's a lot of time on an average over an entire season. The last couple seasons, Lamar has had more time in the pocket, and this season's no different. Allen has 2.2 seconds per drop back in the pocket, which is, again, among one of the lowest total times in the pocket in the entire AFC, whereas Lamar is benefiting from 2.6. Again, it doesn't sound like a real big percentage, but it makes a big difference. That's additional time. Another stat that I think is really important is teams are trying to beat Lamar by rushing him. He is seeing almost double the total number of hurries compared to Josh Allen on dropback scenarios. So Lamar's seen like 40-ish pressures on 88 total dropbacks. So he's being pressured about half the time. Allen is nowhere near that. Allen's being pressured. He's seen 30 blitzes on 120 plus dropbacks, right? So again, not anywhere close to what you see with Lamar. And these are very, very different styles of quarterback, right? While they have similar tendencies, they are very different styles of quarterback. Lamar is still not a thrower. And I understand that, people in the fantasy world are going to say, well, Lamar Jackson's the number one QB in fantasy football. That has to mean something. Well, I mean, they are winning football games, right? And they're also the top scoring team in the NFL. And that's because Lamar Jackson is a dangerous weapon, right? And getting Lamar early in the season is a problem because Lamar is relatively healthy. While he doesn't have great weapons, that's not going to improve over the season, but his weapons are healthy enough right now. And he is a dangerous weapon. I don't think there's any way to say that he's not. But Allen is clear and away the better quarterback. And when I talk about quarterback, I'm talking about doing everything that a quarterback does, from moving protection to checking out of bad plays. Like these are two quarterbacks that just simply don't get sacked. Lamar's been sacked, I think, 6 times this entire season. Allen's been sacked 7 times this entire season. Again, some of the lowest in the entire AFC. So these are high level athletes. But to compare Lamar and say that he's a better quarterback than Allen is lunacy. Allen is attempting twice as many throws, and from what you ask a quarterback to do, it's not really even a comparison that's fair. Lamar, while in a contract year, is going to go absolutely balls to the wall. And Lamar in a contract year is a very dangerous player. He's a very dangerous athlete. I think he's shown that very early already, that he is an exceptionally dangerous player. And Baltimore is far from a cakewalk. Buffalo is going to depend on the fact that Lamar is going to get impatient. Lamar historically hasn't done great against Buffalo. They kind of have that mobile quarterback thing figured out a little bit, which is good to say, right? I hope Baltimore doesn't take any lessons on how to shut down a mobile quarterback from Buffalo and use it against Allen tonight, but we'll see. The numbers that I keep going back to are Lamar is pressured or blitzed on almost half his dropbacks, and that's because people don't believe that he can throw the football. And he's attempting half as many passes as Josh Allen is. His bad throws are almost double Allen's. So Lamar still, even with a smaller sample size, Lamar is still making worse throws than Allen, which tells me that the sustainability of his production is not possible, right? Like if you look at the arc of what is possible, what is not possible, as you increase total number of throws, if the bad throws stay where they are, this is unsustainable production for Baltimore. And Buffalo's been able to capitalize on that in the past. This is a high turnover defense that the Bills have. And Baltimore is certainly going to bring pressure to Allen. I think that's what they think is going to get Allen, out of the pocket, moving. They're going to do the best they can to take away that, 1 through 15. Good morning, everybody. Morning, Scott. Morning, Papa Steve's. And once we see this game start to unfold, you're going to see Baltimore really try and push that coverage against the Bills wide receivers and take away Allen's ability to continue to look downfield. And that's something that we've talked about. Allen is a great, is a great trait of his, is as the play breaks down, he's always looking downfield. Miami took that away from him, where there wasn't going to be anything deep. And that's why Buffalo had the ball for 40 minutes, because there came a point where Allen just said, okay, listen, you're going to take everything deep away. I'm just going to throw 6-yard outs and we'll live that life. And you still almost won. So I saw positives, a lot more positives from the Miami game than maybe some other folks did. I didn't think Allen would have the huevos to just take what was underneath all day. And he did. The difference is that Lamar doesn't exactly see the field the same way yet. Whereas Allen is able to step back and diagnose and find time in the pocket. He's got less time in the pocket than Lamar. Again, Allen seeing 2.2 seconds per drop back compared to Lamar Jackson, who's 2.6. That's a big difference at an NFL level. There's a lot of problems with that Baltimore team, and they've been able to cover it up for a while. But Lamar, the athlete, is only going to get you so far. And I think today is going to show you that when you have a game plan against Lamar Jackson, you're going to be able to stop him. And when you have a game plan against Josh Allen, you're only going to be able to contain him for a little bit. The Miami game, again, is a great example. Buffalo had 400 yards of offense. Just didn't score enough points. They couldn't get it done in the red zone. They fumbled the ball on basically at the goal line. Like they gave Miami 7 points. It cost them the game. They, couldn't kick the field goal before the half. The list goes on with that game. There's so much wrong with it. But when you look at a Baltimore team that's coming into town, this is a game that you should be able to show off exactly what you've built. You've built an incredibly aggressive defense. who will be able to keep up with these receivers. Buffalo's secondary, I'm not concerned about that at all. Buffalo's back end is going to hold up just fine. A lot more players are trending to play than not. Dane Jackson is even trending to play. Poyer's trending to play. You're still going to have Phillips out. You still got, some key players that are out, but far less than what you saw last week. And Buffalo's offensive line has not been good this year. Allen hasn't been getting the time, and Baltimore's going to try and capitalize on that. They're going to try and push the pocket. They're going to try and get Allen moving. They're going to try and take everything away 15 yards deep, 15 yards and deeper. That's what Miami did. It was effective at containing Allen, and I think that's the difference. Lamar has to win games himself. He has to be the best athlete on the field, and he's not going to be the best athlete on the field. He's not. I see Scott Blake who's going to cover the tight end. With Lamar, you have to understand that Mark Andrews on Teron Johnson is something you're just going to have to accept. That you're just going to have to accept it. You'll see switch coverages where they'll put Milano and Edmonds on Andrews in certain looks, but you're just going to have to get used to the fact that you're going to see Teron Johnson on Mark Andrews most of the day. And while that's not a matchup, you're also talking about a quarterback whose bad throw percentage is almost a quarter of his total throws. So while Allen is producing, and while Lamar is producing, the rate at which they produce is not the same. Right? So a quarter of Lamar's throws are considered bad throws, off-target throws, whereas I think less than 12% it was for Allen. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Buffalo should be able to stay in and on top of this game. This is a great matchup for Buffalo. It's not as good a matchup for Baltimore. If I'm Baltimore, I'm nervous about this game because while Buffalo just lost to Miami, those boys aren't going to lose again anytime soon. This is the hardest part of their schedule coming up, the next 4 games, minus the Pittsburgh game. And to be honest with you, losing a teeth kicker to Miami, that's bad news for the rest of the league that's got to play Buffalo. But when you try and compare Allen to Lamar, it's just not the same. Allen continues to be the better quarterback. Lamar, while again a high-level athlete, the aggregate numbers tell you that there's a problem there. When your quarter of your throws are off target, that's a problem. When you're being rushed on half of your total, when you're being rushed on half your total dropbacks, that's a problem. The league is starting to figure it out. And yes, you have one of the biggest, you got one of the biggest scoring offenses in the NFL in Baltimore. You got the second highest scoring offense in Buffalo. This is going to be a barn burner. It could be. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Paul from #, guys. Love you. Talk to you soon. Have a good one. Go Bills.